The housing market continues to shift. Hey everybody, Scott Walters, buckle up, strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows, no sunshine. I'm just going to give it to you and give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today as the U.S. housing market continues to exhibit some very, very strange behavior. Listen, friends, this is the realities, and if you're new, please subscribe. Subscribe right away. There's never been a more important time in history. Centered and surrounded with like-minded people, iron will continue to sharpen iron. We're going to examine the health and the fitness of the U.S. housing market because everything hinges on the U.S. housing market. If we lose it, we will lose everything. So anybody that's been with the channel knows I like to I do a lot of repeating of my words here to drive my points home because a lot of you, even though returning viewers, a lot of you are new. Anytime the housing market exhibits bubble behavior, they've crashed 100% of the time. So I knew when this bubble was being created, there was no way it would sustain itself. The dust would settle, there would be blowback, and we would pay the piper from the stimulus era. It was market manipulation, friends. Let's just cut to the chase. This market was born, this housing bubble was born due to very orchestrated market manipulation. Dropped those interest rates, stifled inventory, locking people at home, and then deeming realtors essential. And then the industry wanted to normalize it and tell you this time was different. The last bubble was due to loose lending. This time is different. You should buy right now. Well, the realities are, friends, is we're about to look at a chart courtesy of our good friends over at Redfin that has a lot of data. And even though I'm not a big data-driven guy, I rely on my gut, my experience. Throw the playbook out the window. The data will not save you, my friends. But there's a lot of data that we can pull from, and why not? Let's pull from a little bit. But the realities are this, friends. We're going to look at a chart right now, and this is a national average of how much people are spending on rent, how much people are spending to own. And those lines are starting to cross, and they're going to meet each other, and then they're going to start crisscrossing and going the opposite direction. And what it really boils down to, rents are dropping, mortgage rates are rising. That's what's going on. This market was supposed to go up forever, and the people that drank that Kool-Aid, FOMO, the fear of missing out, went out and got underneath big new debt. Even at a low interest rate, they overpaid to do it. And a lot of them rolled the dice when they bought these houses, waived anything that could be waived, they waived it to try to get their offer to stick. And now the people that even buy today at a higher interest rate are doing better than the people that bought a year ago at that low interest rate. So that's not really a good sign for the housing market as it continues to display some very unorganic behavior. And like you've heard me say, these markets will correct, recess, or depress. Those are the three levels of a downturn you can expect in these markets. And like I was about to say, every single market in America will behave a little differently. Some will behave very similar to others, some won't. It's just the realities. Every market is different. Every real estate transaction is different. That's why I continue to do my best every once in a while to profile a property so we can look at how many days on market, its price history, but most importantly, our cost to own versus our cost to rent. When those numbers meet each other, typically I like to see a property where it's cheaper for me to own it than if it would cost me to rent, because then it can cash flow, has cash flow capability. So even if it's my primary home, no intentions of it being a rental, that's an insurance policy we pull for ourselves. And hopefully someday you'll want to turn it into a rental and buy another house and climb the property ladder. Be willing to sacrifice now to benefit later and ride off into the sunset. This bubble, and all bubbles I'm sure have done the same thing. People didn't think that way. They got into herd mentality, FOMO, the fear of missing out. So let's go ahead and run this chart from Redfin. Then we're going to meet back here and wrap it up. Let's get started. All right, friends, courtesy of Redfin, here is our national average. And as we can see, as mortgage rates rise and rents drop, the cost to own versus the cost to rent is virtually in a deadlock. And those lines are probably going to crisscross here pretty quick. Let's get back to the studio so we can pick it back up. All right, friends, welcome back. So there you go. That's about the national average. What they're spending to rent a house and what they're spending to own a house, around $2,000 a month. And those numbers now, those lines are crossing, right? We're seeing the cost of rent got really high, but now it's tapering off. And the cost to own the mortgage rates were low, but now the mortgage rates are going up. So those lines are about to crisscross. And we've talked about, there's a lot of other temperature checks that we can do, like the inverting yield curve. Anytime that's happened, recession has followed. When we've had 2 negative quarters of GDP growth and yield curve inversion. So we've got a lot of metrics that are just showing us which way this housing market is going. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out anymore. My main thing now is we read between the lines and look between the cracks and sound the alarm and ring the bell and let people know that this was a housing bubble and it can't sustain itself. There's still a lot of people out there trying to cheerlead and tell you this time is different, but it's getting harder and harder to make that argument. And while I love real estate, and I'm already helping a lot of you with your real estate needs, because a lot of properties, as we just discussed earlier in the message, certain areas are showing us buying opportunities. Certain areas aren't there yet. Like I've always said, even where I'm sitting today in a euphoric Southern California market, where we got really euphoric too, but we're kind of insulated because it's a playground for the rich and famous, a touristy destination. But we might be recession insulated because of that, but we're not recession proof. A deep cycle, a depression, would reach right into this market and shake it up. And I'm already seeing days on market and price reduction waves sweep through my local market. We're seeing it all over the nation. So the days of over asking price offers, those have come and gone. And there's a lot of agents out there, I think, still telling their sellers that they can get them top dollar. And while I know there's a lot of appreciation still at the moment in people's homes, that's slowly evaporating too. So eventually you're going to get to the point where there is no more appreciation that you can bank on. People are doing what I always say, chasing the market now, the kiss of death. When you show price reductions in days on market, it means you came on too high. Because if you priced right, you'll go off the market in any economy if you price right. So people either aren't getting handled right or they're letting their sellers set the price. Hey, Scott, this is my house. I've checked its value range. If you're willing to put it on the upper end of its value range, because my house is better than my neighbors or the last comps that just sold because I have better finishes, my lot size, whatever. But you see, you don't understand. If I come on no matter how well your house shows, and I'm talking if it's unoccupied, lockbox, staged, professional staging, it shows like a FOMO factory home perfectly. You still can't come on the upper end of its value range in a declining market. It's like trying to shoot at a moving target. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understanding the biggest housing bubble ever produced in world history couldn't sustain itself. When we see cost to own versus cost to rent, those lines are starting to invert as well. Renters are going to do better in a crash environment, because they're not locked into a house that's upside down or won't rent for its payment. The majority of people never check the property's rent range. All they do is fall in love with finishes and some salesman trying to sell it to them. Picture yourself in this home. This is a great home. The neighbors are great. The schools are great. It's great, 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 great. Overpay to do it. Not even caring. Off to the next sale, trying to pump up stats. You really need somebody that's going to cut through the lines and negotiate a deal for you. Rich people didn't get rich buying in the height of a real estate bubble. They got rich buying outside the bubble for pennies on the dollar. Those deals are starting to show themselves right now. And my guess is more are coming. Stay tuned as I blow the lid off it every step of the way, because it's not only what you need, it's in fact what you deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to contact me there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to help you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well. Also, if you're watching from your television set today and you enjoyed this video, I think you're really going to love the next video on your screen. And there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today. I'll see you on the next video.